0347 hours local time. The Strait of Hormuz. The moonless sky above the Persian Gulf was torn apart by the high-pitched shriek of 340 Iranian drones, their thermal signatures painting the American early warning radars like a swarm of digital locusts. The $357 million aerial armada, comprising Shahid 136 loitering munitions, Mohajer 6 reconnaissance platforms, and the newly unveiled Kara-X attack drones, streaked westward at 180 knots toward the $4.5 billion Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Carney and its accompanying expeditionary strike group. Within 90 seconds, the Carney's Aegis combat system detected the threat. Within 3 minutes, Standard Missile, 2 interceptors began launching from the ship's Mk-41 vertical launch cells at a cost of $2.4 million per shot. The American response was textbook, overwhelming, and precise. But here's the question that would haunt Pentagon briefing rooms for months. Why would Iran sacrifice $357 million worth of unmanned assets in what appeared to be a suicidal frontal assault against the most advanced naval air defense system ever built? Was this desperation, miscalculation, or are we all being deceived by the largest military illusion in Middle Eastern history? But before continuing, let's take a little bet. In this battle, which side will prevail? The American Aegis Defense Network, or Iran's drone swarm strategy? Comment with your opinion. To understand what happened in the pre-dawn darkness of that October morning, we need to rewind 72 hours. On October 12th, the USS Carney, under the command of Captain Jeffrey Lundeen, entered the Strait of Hormuz as part of Operation Sentinel, Washington's ongoing naval presence mission designed to guarantee freedom of navigation through the world's most strategic oil choke point. Accompanying the Carney were 2 littoral combat ships, the USS Indianapolis and USS Mobile Bay, plus the expeditionary sea base USS Lewis B. Puller, carrying a Marine Expeditionary Unit and 4 MH-60S Seahawk helicopters. The American formation made no attempt to conceal its presence. The Carney's N/Spy 1D radar operated at maximum power, its S-band emissions detectable from 150 nautical miles away. The destroyer maintained a steady 16 knots, broadcasting its position through automatic identification system transponders, a deliberate show of force designed to communicate one message: we own these waters. But 280 miles to the north, inside a hardened command bunker beneath the Zagros Mountains, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps aerospace commanders were watching. And they were smiling. For 3 weeks, Iran's drone production facilities in Isfahan and Shahroud had been operating at maximum capacity. Intelligence satellites had captured thermal signatures of round-the-clock manufacturing. But what Western analysts didn't understand was the purpose. Iran had invested $357 million into this specific production run, churning out 340 drones of mixed capabilities, 140 Shahid 136 loitering munitions, each carrying a 40-kilogram warhead, cruising speed 185 kilometers per hour, range 2,500 kilometers, unit cost $20,000. 120 Mohajer, 6 reconnaissance drones, equipped with electro-optical sensors and data link relay systems, unit cost $100,000. 80 Kara-X attack drones, Iran's most advanced platform, featuring autonomous targeting AI and anti-radiation seeker heads designed to hunt radar emissions. Unit cost $2.1 million each. The swarm represented nearly 15% of Iran's annual military drone budget, concentrated into a single operation. At 0215 hours on October 15th, the order was given. From 17 concealed launch sites scattered across southern Iran, the drone armada lifted off in coordinated waves. Their flight path was deliberate, brazenly direct, a southwestern vector that would take them straight across Iranian territorial waters, skirting the edge of Omani airspace, before descending on the American strike group from the northeast. The Carney's radar operators detected the formation at 0334 hours, 13 minutes before the swarm would enter engagement range. Captain Lundeen faced a textbook scenario. His Aegis system could track and engage 128 targets simultaneously. His vertical launch cells contained 96 missiles, 56 SM, 2 surface-to-air missiles at $2.4 million each, 32 Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles at $1.8 million each, and 8 SM, 6 dual-role interceptors at $4.3 million each. His Phalanx close-in weapon systems provided a final defensive layer, capable of firing 4,500 rounds per minute of 20mm tungsten penetrators. The math was simple. Iran had launched 340 targets. The United States had more than enough interceptors, more than enough tracking capacity, more than enough firepower. But what Iranian commanders didn't expect was far more devastating than anyone imagined. Because this wasn't about mathematics. It was about economics, psychology, and a trap that had been set 3 months earlier. From Tehran's perspective, this operation wasn't suicide. It was genius. Let's examine the strategic calculus that Iran's Aerospace Force commander, Brigadier General Amir Ali Hajizadeh, presented to Supreme Leader Khamenei in the classified briefing that authorized the attack. Economic attrition warfare. Here's the equation that made Iran confident. Their $357 million drone swarm would force the United States to expend approximately $680 million in interceptor missiles, nearly double the cost of the attack itself. But the real genius lay deeper. Every SM-2 missile fired from the Carney's vertical launch cells was one less interceptor available for the real threat. Iran's inventory of 3,000 plus ballistic and cruise missiles. Every radar emission, every fire control solution, every tactical frequency used in the engagement was being recorded by Iranian electronic intelligence aircraft orbiting 80 miles inside Iranian airspace. The drones weren't meant to sink the Carney. They were a $357 million intelligence collection operation disguised as an attack. Underwater, Iran had positioned 2 Ghadar-class midget submarines along the strait's northern edge, their passive sonar arrays recording the acoustic signature of the Carney's gas turbine engines at combat speed, the cavitation patterns of its propellers under high RPM maneuvering, and, most critically, the distinctive sound of its Mk-41 VLS cells opening and the rocket motor ignition sequence of outgoing missiles. This acoustic data was priceless. In a future conflict, Iranian submarines would be able to identify American destroyers by their sound signature alone and know, within seconds, when they were firing defensive missiles, revealing the precise moment when they were most vulnerable, their magazines depleting, their crews focused on aerial threats rather than subsurface contacts. But in the eyes of those hiding beneath the ocean, this noise was a perfect shield for something far more sinister. At 0351 hours, as the Carney's fifth salvo of SM-2 missiles climbed toward the drone swarm, something extraordinary happened in the electromagnetic spectrum. The 80 Carrier-X drones, the most expensive and sophisticated platforms in the Iranian formation, activated their anti-radiation seekers. These weren't suicide drones aimed at the ships. They were hunter-killers designed to map, categorize, and, in a real war, destroy every American radar emission in the region. Their onboard AI systems began cataloging the Carneys and /spy, 1D radar frequency hopping patterns, the fire control illuminators guiding the SM-2 missiles, the /SLQ, 32 electronic warfare suites jamming signatures, the data link frequencies connecting the destroyer to its E-2D Hawkeye early warning aircraft circling 90 miles to the south. The Carrier-X drones recorded everything, transmitted burst telemetry back to Iranian ground stations via satellite uplink, and then, having completed their mission, intentionally flew into the sea, self-destructing to prevent capture. From Iran's perspective, the operation was proceeding flawlessly. The Americans were doing exactly what Tehran wanted, expending their most expensive weapons against Iran's cheapest assets, all while inadvertently providing a complete map of their defensive architecture. Brigadier General Hajizadeh, watching the operation unfold from his command bunker, permitted himself a rare smile. The United States had just paid $680 million to train Iran's next generation of anti-ship missiles. But they made a fatal mistake. The electromagnetic spectrum they were relying on to stay hidden was actually a death nail composed just for them. At exactly 0358 hours, the battlefield situation changed so rapidly that Iranian electronic warfare officers were unable to react. Because here's what Tehran didn't know. There was no drone defense operation. Not really. What appeared to be a desperate, reactive engagement was actually the final phase of a 3-month-long U.S. Central Command intelligence operation, codenamed Phantom Echo. Let me take you back to July 17th, 3 months before the drone swarm launch. That was the day a National Security Agency signals intelligence satellite detected an encrypted burst transmission from Iran's Shahroud drone facility to Revolutionary Guard headquarters in Tehran. The message contained production orders for an unprecedented drone manufacturing surge, $400 million allocated for immediate fabrication. The NSA analysts passed the intelligence to CENTCOM, where a 15-person joint task force asked a single critical question: why would Iran suddenly build hundreds of drones unless they planned to use them all at once? The answer led to one of the most sophisticated deception operations in modern naval warfare. The USS Carney's deployment to the Strait of Hormuz wasn't routine patrol. It was bait. Every aspect of the destroyer's operation was carefully designed to be deliberately vulnerable. Its Aegis radar operated at maximum power, making it impossible to miss. Its transit route was predictable, repeated on a precise 72-hour cycle. Its electronic warfare posture was defensive, not offensive. Most critically, it appeared to be alone. But it wasn't alone. 65 nautical miles to the southwest, invisible to Iranian radar and submerged beneath 400 feet of water, the Virginia-class attack submarine USS Indiana had been waiting for 11 days. The Indiana wasn't there to sink ships. It was there to listen and to watch. Its BQQ-10 sonar suite, the most sensitive underwater acoustic system ever deployed, had been recording every sound in the strait for 264 hours. When Iran's Ghadar-class submarines took up their positions to record the Carney's defensive engagement, the Indiana knew their exact location within 15 meters. But here's where the trap became truly elegant. The Indiana wasn't just listening. It was feeding false acoustic data into the water. Using a specialized towed array system developed by DARPA's Acoustic Warfare Division, the Indiana projected artificial sound signatures into the surrounding ocean, phantom ship contacts, decoy submarine signatures, and, most devastating of all, fake missile launch sequences. When Iran's submarines recorded what they believed was the Carney firing 28 SM-2 missiles, they were actually recording a carefully crafted acoustic illusion. The real number of missiles fired? 14. The Carney had defeated the entire 340 drone swarm while expending only $33.6 million in interceptors, less than 1/10 of Iran's investment. But the deception went deeper. Those 80 Carror-X drones that had successfully mapped American radar frequencies, they had mapped phantom emissions. The Carney's electronic warfare suite, upgraded in a classified retrofit 6 months earlier, had been broadcasting false radar patterns, decoy fire control illuminations, and artificial data link signals. Every byte of intelligence that Iranian drones transmitted back to Tehran was corrupted, worthless, and, most dangerously, convincingly wrong. In a future conflict, if Iran programmed its anti-ship missiles to target the radar signatures they captured during this operation, those missiles would chase ghosts. The moment of punishment came at 0403 hours. As Iranian commanders celebrated their successful intelligence operation, the USS Indiana surfaced to periscope depth and transmitted a single encrypted message to CENTCOM headquarters in Qatar. Phantom Echo complete. Target signatures acquired. Iranian subsurface contacts cataloged and tracked. Recommend immediate diplomatic disclosure. Within 6 hours, the U.S. Secretary of Defense held a press conference. He revealed, with satellite imagery, acoustic data, and precise timestamps, the entire Iranian operation. Tehran's secret submarine positions, the drone production facilities, the electromagnetic intelligence collection effort. All of it. Iran had mobilized its most valuable strategic assets, invested $357 million, exposed its most advanced drone technology, and revealed its submarine doctrine, only to face a phantom enemy and be defeated by 15 elite specialists aboard a single American submarine. The United States won decisively, turning the Strait of Hormuz into an impregnable fortress and disarming Iran's drone doctrine without firing a single unnecessary interceptor. But the implications extend far beyond one engagement. First, economic warfare has a new dimension. Iran attempted to bankrupt American missile inventories through swarm tactics. The United States responded by proving it could defeat those swarms at 1/10 the expected cost while simultaneously harvesting intelligence on Iranian capabilities. The message to other adversaries, China, Russia, North Korea, is clear. Drone swarms aren't the asymmetric game-changer they appear to be. Second, the electromagnetic spectrum is now a deception battle space. Iran believed it was collecting actionable intelligence. Instead, it poisoned its own targeting databases with false information. Future Iranian commanders will now question every piece of electronic intelligence they collect. Was it real, or was it another phantom echo? Third, submarine warfare has entered a new era. The USS Indiana demonstrated that modern attack submarines aren't just hunters. They're illusionists, capable of projecting false realities into the ocean itself. This has terrifying implications for any navy that relies on acoustic intelligence. The Strait of Hormuz is no longer a disputed region. It has officially become America's impregnable Golden Dome fortress, protected not only by missiles, but also by the masterful cunning of the U.S. Navy's silent service. But here's the question that keeps Middle East analysts awake at night. In your opinion, after this devastating blow, will Iran lie low and take the hit, or is it quietly preparing a more devastating retaliatory strike against American interests in the region? Because if there's one lesson from decades of Persian Gulf conflicts, it's this: Iran never forgets. And it always responds. Will the next engagement involve cyber warfare against American naval networks? Proxy attacks through Houthi forces in Yemen? Or has Tehran learned the lesson of Phantom Echo and decided that direct military confrontation with the United States is unwinnable? Share your analytical insights in the comments section, as we are eager to hear perspectives from strategists like you. If you think this tactical breakdown has exposed the most shocking military secrets, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next classified file on how Israel's submarine fleet is reshaping Mediterranean power dynamics will be unlocked in our next video. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and victory.